Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Shankel. I'm going to be helping you today with Module 1, Lesson 1. Let's get started. Okay, today we're talking about ratios. And ratios are just a comparison of two values. So when we write ratios, we can write them in a couple of different ways. We can write them with a colon. So it would look like this, A to B, so we're comparing the value of A to the value of B, and use a colon there. We can use the word to. We could always write A to B this way, A to B. That's a relationship between the value of A and the value of B. Okay, a comparison. And we can also write it in fraction form. A over B is also a ratio. So that is also a comparison of the value of A to the value of B. And the most important thing, we can use any of those forms at any time. It doesn't matter. Typically, if we just write it, we'll use a colon. Very few times do you see the word to, but you can certainly use that. And most of the time, we're just going to write it in fraction form because as we move through these lessons, we're gonna want to calculate with these ratios, and having it in fraction form kind of lends itself to calculation. So we're going to see that quite a bit, but all three of those are possible ways to write a ratio. All right, the important thing about ratios is order. The first value has to match up with whatever we're talking about first. So let's look at example 1. And this says, the co-ed soccer team has 4 times as many boys on it as it has girls. We say the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls, let me point this out, the number of boys to the number of girls, that's the ratio. So when I write the ratio in terms of numbers, I have to stay in that order. My first number has to be the number of boys. If I switch the order, it's going to switch the meaning. Okay, the reader of this ratio is going to think it's a ratio of boys to girls, so the first number has to be the number of boys, and that's 4. 4 times as many boys as girls. So the first number is a 4. The second number is the number of girls, and the number of girls is 1. So 4 to 1. And we can write it with the word to. We can write it as they did with the colon. Or we could write this as a fraction, 4 over 1. Those are the 3 possible ways to write that ratio. If I were to change the order, I completely change the meaning of the ratio. If I say that the ratio is 1 to 4, that means there's 1 boy for every 4 girls. And that's not what they told us. So the order of the ratio, the way that we write it, is extremely important. All right? Suppose the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls on the team is 3 to 2. Well, then the ratio would be 3 to 2. Or if I use the word 3 to 2. Or if I write it as a fraction, 3 to 2. And as long as I have the boys number first compared to the number of girls, I'm correct. So 3 to 2 with the colon would look like that. All right, let's take a look at another example. Here we've got a ratio given to us, and we're going to write a description of the ratio using good ratio language. And I've used good ratio language already, but let's point that out for you now. When I write a ratio description with good ratio language, it should always start with for every. For every. So if I start my description like that, I'm going to be talking in good ratio language. Everyone's going to understand what I talk about. So in this case, I'm going to compare the value of 1 to 12. And let's say for every, let me change color so we can see the difference. For every 1, let's go month. for every 1 month, let me switch back to my color. There are let me back that up. I don't want month. For every 1 year is what I'm really looking for here. So let me change that. For every 1 year, comma, there are 12 months. Okay, there's good ratio language. And you'll notice that I kept the good ratio language that we should see every time in blue. For every, there are, or there is, whatever it turns out. For every 1 year, there are 12 months. That's a good description of that ratio, 1 to 12. Now, it could have been anything. For every 1 E, there are 12 A's. Hopefully that's what we see a ratio of on tests. We could say anything, really. It could be anything. It just kind of lends itself to years and months. Okay, so that's good ratio language. Let's use that again for the next one. I'm going to say for every, and then this time my 12 is first. So my 12 is first, so I'm going to talk about something that's 12. And I could say for every 12 months. Okay, and then comma, and then I go back to my blue. There are, or there is, this time, there is 1 year. For every 12 months, there's 1 year. Okay, that fits the ratio. That's good ratio language. For every, there is. Okay, and then we're just going to keep going. We're gonna make another description here. For every 2, well, it could be anything. Let's say for every 2, I was going to say hands, there are 5 fingers, but that's not true. Let's just make up something. For every 2 hot dogs, okay, there are 5 French fries. That seems like a low number of French fries, but it's a ratio. For every 2 hot dogs, there are 5 French fries. That works. And notice I've got good ratio language every time I write a description. For every, there are. For every, there is. For every, there are. Okay, so we're writing a good ratio description with good ratio language. And remember, our order matters. Notice on the first one, it was 1 to 12. I had the 1 first, the 12 second. The second one, it was 12 to 1, so I had the 12 first and the 1 second. In this one, it was 2 to 5, so I had 2 first and the 5 second. Order is everything with ratios. Okay, let's take a look at some more. 5 to 2, 10 to 2. Here's the one I can use the fingers on. For every 10 fingers, there are 2 hands. That would work. And I know some of you are probably saying, thumbs aren't fingers. Okay, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. So let me fix that. Instead of fingers, let's call them phalanges. Oop. Gosh, my iPad's going crazy here. Phalanges. Okay, if you're not sure what a phalange is, ask Mrs. Brown. For every 10 phalanges, there are 2 hands. That's a good one. Or for every 2 hands, there are 10 phalanges. Okay? All right, there we go. Those would be fingers and thumbs, all of those things, fingers and thumbs. All right, so very good. That is good ratio language. For every there are. Okay? A ratio is an ordered pair of numbers which are not both zero. So an ordered pair would be like an x and a y, an x and a y value. We just compare them, saying x to y, or x with the word to y, or x to y as a fraction. Those are all possible ways to write it. The ratio is noted A to B to indicate the order of the numbers. A is the first one, B is the second one. Just like an ordered pair, X is first, Y is second. Order is everything for ratios. All right, and that is it. That's your lesson 1. I hope that helps. I'll see you again next time.